Yep. We're going to go into Dr. Luza responding to some of the concerns and questions that came up previously in the last meeting.
Okay, number one, Title I. There have been many comments regarding Title I, insinuating that the district is not doing it right. Well, doesn't matter. So the only thing I can say is, district, as long as I have been here, 24 years, we have been following the rule exactly as the state requires. We follow the state guidelines, and we work here to the pleasure of the Board of Education. For the last, I don't know, Ila, would you like to
Sure.
They may believe you more, I guess. Come on, you are in charge of Title I.
Yes.
Give us a synopsis how Title I works.
Sure. Hi. Well, good evening, Dr. Luza, board members, cabinet, and audience. I'm Ida Huerta, and I'm the categorical coordinator, or principal and special assignment. And yes, like Dr. Luza says, we follow federal regulations in terms of how to disperse the money for Title I schools. In the last year, the threshold was 75% low income, and the school had more than 75% students that qualified for reduced lunch or free lunch. They qualify for Title I. The Board of Education, our local Board of Education, lowered the threshold to 40%. So yes, we're monitoring. We have, the question was, I guess, about Lincoln. Lincoln just became, they have a 44.86% of students low income this school year. This is according to SCESD from October of this school year. We're going to continue to monitor. We monitor for 2 consecutive years, and then if they continue with this amount of percentage, then we will follow the Title I procedures. If the school, the personnel, teachers would like, and the community, parents would like for that particular school to become Title I, it will be up to them, okay? But we will follow for 2 consecutive years. So this is year 1, and next year, if they continue to have this amount, then we will follow protocol. And currently, our language development center just moved to that to the school site. So if those kids, many of those kids come from Title I schools, so we're monitoring. If those kids were to move to another school site, and if the percentage lowers, then we don't want to give funds, because what happens is that with Title I funds, they hire people, personnel, they bring programs, and if it's not sustainable, what's going to happen? So that's why it's so important that we monitor for 2 consecutive years. If this continues, we'll definitely, if the school teachers and parents are ready for it, we'll definitely come to schools. Okay, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the information, and Dr. Luza, you still have the floor.
My name is Sean Henry. I'm a parent with students in the district. In terms of the concerns, it was a real basic question that I believe was asked of Area 4 Trustee Janet Barnes in terms of Title I. Whether the resolution that was passed in October would allow Lincoln to vote for themselves, since they're way over the threshold. I don't know where the monitoring process of 2 years comes from. I know we can't ask questions, or people answer questions, but I don't know where that is in the regulations. It was basically, do you guys have to vote again to allow Lincoln to decide for themselves, or did the resolution that passed in October meet it? When we spoke at that time, it was very much pointed out, I believe by another member, Daniel McCall, that Lincoln should have been part of the option, because it was at 39.4 something percent. And I think we got a very similar answer. Well, we're kind of monitoring. The estimate that the district gave was there was going to be, I think, 206 students at Lincoln. There's almost 300, 290. So they're over 45%. So we're not talking about statistics. We're talking about 300 students that school should have a choice to decide or not. 3 schools were given a choice by the school board to follow the state and federal regulations. What you previously had was the 75% that you had determined. So the federal government allows you to make other decisions, but the state and federal standard was 40%. And not only that, it was very much pointed out that 35% could still become an entire school-wide Title I school. So they give you an exemption up to 35%. So this moving back and forth, that's not going to be a concern. your estimates were way off. 100 students, almost 100 students that are low income. So Lincoln may decide not to even use it, just as I believe Laurelwood and University Park did. But Mission Park, 80% of the staff did vote for it and are going to be using it and are planning to be using it and putting a plan together next year to have after-school programs primarily for our most needy students, English language development, whatever's needed. And they're coming up with that plan. So it's not a whatever issue, Mr. Luza. I mean, that kind of response from the superintendent, I didn't want to address you that way, but it was like, I can't believe what I heard.
Hi, Frank Garden, father of 2 children in the district. So what I heard regarding the Title I fund allocation from Dr. Luza is that allocation of the funding is at the discretion of the board, whether to give the teachers and the parents that opportunity to vote on it, because ultimately it is a school choice. Then we hear of this 2-year monitoring requirement. You know, by now, us coming here every month, I'm sure you know that we're big fans of due process. So if there is in fact a monitoring requirement, we'd like to see what the controlling document is. Where's the policy that the board has ratified and set forth for your administrators to follow that sets forth that that's the process for allocation of funds. So if I could see a copy of that document, that'd be great.